A wise or mature person knows a lot, but is still learning. An immature or foolish person, however, is not destined for knowledge, yet still does not want to learn. An unintelligent person does not want to organize his life by reducing his ignorance, even though many good things and opportunities come his way. Simply because he is immature and doesn't know how to use them, he always treads the same life path. An unintelligent person moves through life with only the little knowledge he once acquired, like a person who has read one book and always talks as if there is no other book beyond it. He holds onto that small piece of knowledge and lives without realizing his own ignorance. But if he knows these 7 characteristics and understands that they are his own, no one can stop him from changing. After you see these 7 identifying traits of an immature person, let me know in the comments which of the 7 traits you have and which one you identify with. If you have a history of most of these traits, you must quickly change your approach and place yourself among mature people. The first of the characteristics by which an immature person is known is that he wants everyone to know everything he plans and does. Unintelligent people often spend their time talking about everything they intend to do and are trying to do. When it's time to do what they planned, they are instead immersed in gossip. You might see people who claim to have achieved many things talking, but the biggest difference between them and these people is action. Other people can only talk about what they have accomplished and what they have grasped with their hands, not their plans. But an immature person focuses only on talking. He is perhaps known more for talking than for doing. So, one trait that distinguishes an immature person is that he talks about his big dreams, but he is never seen doing the groundwork. If you ask me, what is the harm in a person being able to talk and talk about everything? Psychologists say that when you keep something to yourselves rather than talking about a plan you have made, your internal energy remains a great power where it is. So, this power source comes from the part of your mind that motivates you to do. And the process is like this. When you have a plan or an idea, your mind becomes engrossed in the thought, and your desire to do it is strongly stimulated. The reason for this is that your mind understands the amount of pleasure and desire within that plan you made. For example, we make a big plan, and we imagine in our minds how we will do it, the happiness we will get after it succeeds, and what we will do with the money we get, tasting that happiness in advance. Psychologists call this anticipatory reward. Then, from that time onwards, facilitating conditions and motivation for the plan to be executed begin. But this compressed power or positive energy is released by one thing: when you tell people about it. Because when you tell people about that thing, your mind, which understands the matter through emotion, counts the thing as already done, and after that, the effort or motivation you had for that thing stops. Then, everything you thought of perishes without turning into action. So, this is when an immature person always wastes his energy by talking about what he has done and what he plans to do. Therefore, always try to let people know about what you are going to do only after it has been accomplished, rather than speaking about it beforehand. The second of the characteristics of an unintelligent person is that he wants to see change quickly. Successful people in the world say that change is a part of life's journey, not an ordinary thing obtained overnight. Wanting to touch change quickly is often a hallmark of immature people. Such people have no patience, and a person without patience is a fool. He is a fool who waits for his harvest on the same day he planned. What we humans must always understand is that there is a wide, indeterminate period between the beginning and the result. So, we must spend that time with struggle. A beautiful result is not obtained quickly like that. When there is struggle, the result is always not ordinary, but beautiful and greatly rewarding. But an unintelligent person makes this big mistake. He always wants everything he starts to bring results quickly. He doesn't understand that easily obtained things are easily lost. So, to obtain something difficult requires great effort, a wide span of time, struggle, and consistency. But a person known for foolishness cannot endure things. He rushes. Nothing is difficult for him quickly. But then he stops before achieving the result. Finally, he gives up hope. A person who wants to build physical muscle cannot achieve the muscle he wants by a single exercise session or by lifting heavy weight just once, but repetition over a long time. And the small muscle fibers that are quietly repaired will create the large muscle. Even though the muscle growth is not visible day by day, the body builds its strength from within, eventually reaching a stage where a weight that seemed impossible suddenly becomes light. This happens not because he lifted heavy things only in those final days, but because of the effort poured in from the beginning, through each day, week, and month. But an immature person absolutely does not understand the meaning of the struggle. This haste makes him rush to decisions. He doesn't finish what he starts. He is amazed by everything and just leaves it. He starts and abandons things. This is the characteristic of fools. Tyson once said, "A person who has practiced one punch 100 times scares me more than a person who has studied and practiced 100 types of punches." So, persistently seeing things through to the end, whether in low or high tide, is the characteristic of wise people. Expecting fruit and results quickly is the characteristic of immature people. Third, he always says, "I know everything." Above all, there is always a big difference between a wise person and an immature person. Even if a wise person has better knowledge, he still does not stop learning. But immature people do not have sufficient knowledge, nor are they prepared to learn. They think they know everything, and that no one knows as much as they do. They are known for always saying, "I am right," to protect their inferiority complex. They appear defensive in front of others. You must realize that a person who is trying to learn, even if unlearned, brings better results than a learned person who sits saying, "I know." The destination of a person with a heart always ready to learn is a beautiful result. Scientists say that only about 3 to 5% of the knowledge on this earth has been studied and known so far. The world's knowledge is extremely vast. Living on this earth and saying, "I know it all," is extremely difficult. The world is vast and ancient, filled with thousands of years of human history, knowledge, culture, and wisdom. So, for us, living in a certain country, a certain neighborhood, and a certain house, saying we know everything is difficult. For example, a person considered very knowledgeable, even at the peak of his degree, only knows a limited thing. If we take this person to another profession, he might not even tell us a single word about it, because what he knows is only in one field he studied for ages. So, know-it-all attitude is, above all, a sign of immaturity. Being a lifelong student is perhaps even greater than being knowledgeable. In this era where things change every hour, reducing one's ignorance by educating oneself daily grants victory. So, understand that rather than lining yourselves up with immature people by always saying, "I know," considering yourselves as knowing nothing and always being ready to learn is wisdom. The fourth characteristic among immature people is that an Immature person fears change. Although a comfort zone gives a pleasant and comfortable feeling, it is a prison that prevents new change in life. People who fear change do not refrain from repeating the same old thing, even if their old habits no longer benefit them, have no meaning, or even pull them back. Remember, life is like a river. It flows, changes direction, and constantly shifts. The wise learn to adapt and practice within it, but fools try to grasp the water in their hands, only to watch it slip between their fingers. Let's consider this short story. There was a man named Michael who spent his entire life in a small neighborhood. He knew every corner of the neighborhood and the identity of every person in the community. When his grown children encouraged him to move to a new area for a better opportunity, Michael refused. He said he knew all the people there well, had a good time with them, and asked why he would go elsewhere. But after that, the neighborhood began to change. His old friends left the area, and even the shops and businesses he was used to closed down. Even though Michael resisted change, he realized that the world around him continued to move forward anyway. Eventually, he decided to go and live near his children. Then he realized that the new environment opened up not just comfort, but also new opportunities he had never imagined before. This is how the fear of change not only keeps us bound in a safe zone, but also prevents us from seeing great opportunities around us that might not cost much. Stoic philosophy teaches us that change is inevitable. It tells us that we can live a true and full life only when we embrace change wholeheartedly. And so, wise and mature people, when facing change, ask themselves, what is the worst that could happen compared to where I am now? Conversely, they ask, what is the best that could happen? Life, like a river, does not stop in one place. If you don't learn to go with the flow, falling behind will inevitably be your fate. Fifth, he does not appreciate the value of time. An immature person thinks he will remain young forever, always strong. He doesn't notice that eyes weaken with age. His energy will wane, and he won't be able to run. During his youth, he wastes time. He spends it on addictions and, in this era, on useless social media. He does not give value to the time given to him. He doesn't realize that time is always flying away. A person who doesn't understand time has his life wasted on it. I know the saying, time is gold, but now we must all understand that time is life. However, that does not mean living like a hurried person. We must not lose the meaning of life. Using time does not mean living in a rush, frantically doing everything as if there is no time. We are given time to live, not just to pass through certain issues, but we ourselves must be able to live. This time is given to us to laugh, to play, to rest, to work, and to spend with family in appropriate ways and measure. Learn from yesterday for tomorrow. This is the true meaning of life. As it is said, there is a time for everything. When we talk about time, it is about understanding time properly and doing what is necessary at each moment, not about living in a frenzy. So, be guided by the principle that there is a time for everything. That doesn't mean I am telling you to spend all your time having fun and enjoying yourself at any age or any hour. You must balance everything. But immature people fail to appreciate the value of time. Misusing time and not giving it its due worth is their identity. The sixth characteristic of an unintelligent person is that he blames others for everything. An immature person is one who cannot take responsibility. Instead of apologizing for his mistakes and making amends, he points his finger at others. He always likes to make excuses. When he is at fault, he marshals many reasons but does not admit it. He is quick to judge others. One of the ways the fear of responsibility is expressed is by pointing fingers at others for everything. Blaming others while excusing oneself is a very easy place to go to. So, this also becomes an obstacle to changing ourselves. Although responsibility is often difficult, it is a door leading to growth. Wise people accept their mistakes not because they love criticism, but because they understand that truth brings opportunities for improvement. They understand that navigating life begins with taking control of responsibility. So, if you notice yourselves falling into the habit of blaming others, stop for a moment and ask yourselves, have I done everything I could? Is there anything I could do differently? Blaming doesn't change the outcome, but taking responsibility gives you the chance to change yourselves. Mature people learn from their mistakes, grow, and move forward indeed. As humans living on Earth, we cannot hold ourselves responsible for everything. This is the lesson of our times. There are those who teach that no one will take responsibility for your life except you, that you are the sole accountable one for your life. I do not agree with this teaching, because there are many factors that influence a person's life. Logically, we were not all created with the same circumstances or in the same condition. The time it takes for a rich person's child and a poor person's child to reach wealth is not the same. Their efforts and their results may not be similar. So, perhaps we are only responsible for a small percentage of things not in our control. Country, economy, family, friend, neighborhood, they influence what we become. But knowing and doing that is so that we can strive to victoriously overcome a meaningless life. Not so that we can use this as an excuse to wallow in comfort and stay there. That's how today's video looks. If you liked the video, show your support by liking it. To receive the next video, subscribe and click the bell icon to become family.